so a 3-day bimble while the weather was holding, or so I thought. A repeat of September last year. Cal was confined to barracks as I wasn't allowed to bring him, so Taya came for her first bothy trip instead. Taya was ready to start her adventure. No trains, so we parked at Devil's Bridge. A lovely day, or what was left of it. It all started so nicely, but didn't finish like that. In 3 days we only met one person, who was soaked through running with his 3 dogs near the arch. We hit the trail following our route takes us to the left of the hill under the cloud. It was a leisurely stroll through the fields towards the forestry. The last time Cal and I were here, it was during a downpour. We passed some copper mine spoil tips and workings. We also saw an old farmhouse, or what used to be mine buildings. Last year this path was part of the stream, or should I say river, flowing alongside. Taya, noting that she is compliant with the sign which allows her to cross the footbridge, but still a bit wary in case there's a troll hiding underneath. The roof of Nant Syddion became visible next to the lambing sheds on the corner. Then we arrived at Nant Syddion and had the bothy all to ourselves. Yay! This is the kitchen, which lacks both water and electricity. The full moon rose over the Kevin Crow's wind farm. We had supper and turned in early with no light. We planned to head towards the wind farm tomorrow. And our spacious sleeping arrangements on the floor. Taya thought she might take the sleeping bag, and I could have the roll mat. Taya spent part of the night looking out of the window at the full moon. Goodbye to Nant Syddion in the morning. The scene of a tragedy in 1856 when the first recorded quadruplets in Wales were born to Isaac and Margaret Hughes, 3 girls and a boy. Sadly, within a fortnight, all 4 died to be followed within 6 months by Isaac and their 2 remaining children, a boy and girl both aged 5. Distraught at losing all 7 members of her family, Margaret took her own life. Some say the place is haunted, can't think why. We started heading up the valley towards the wind farm. We passed the remains of the secluded Blaine Myheron farm, nestled under the crags leading to the wind farm. A bit of a fixer-upper? We looked back down the valley past the ruins of the farm. A very steep, shaly track up to the plateau, occupied by Kevin Crow's wind farm. Some hardy souls cycle up and down this, up on the plateau and looking back down towards Nant Syddion, which is circled here. On very windy vehicle tracks through the wind farm, with the turbines all clanking and whirring. We then followed a rough and wet track towards the next bothy. Nant Rhys bothy, again, we had it all to ourselves. Sorry, no pictures from inside, it was very dark. Note the UPVC double-glazed window downstairs. Is that an original fitting? A nice quiet night except for when the mice came out to play for half an hour at midnight and Taya had to investigate. The next morning the weather was dismal. The forecast for rain passing through overnight was wrong. As we reached higher ground, the clouds dropped and the turbines disappeared from view. This is the site of the old Nant Rhys farm in a river bend. It was unsurprisingly prone to flooding, which is why the farm was relocated in the mid-19th century. Getting up onto the plateau, the wind was coming from the Cardigan Bay coast, driving the rain inland along the valleys to pelt us sideways for mile after mile, along tracks with no shelter. Until we reached the Hafod Estate Forest, glad to get into the partial shelter and escape the groaning wind turbines like War of the Worlds giants looming out of the clouds. We reached the road back to Devil's Bridge at a place called the Arch. Not sure why it's called that. In 3 days we only met one person who was soaked through running with his 3 dogs near the Arch. Instead of going back onto a mountain track to have a further rain battering, we trudged the last 3 miles back along the road. Only about 6 cars passed us on the way.